3. I have to sneeze. Maybe not. I think we can start. Sure, let's start. 3, 2,
Cool.
1. Let's go. Hey, hello everybody, and welcome to a new episode of Breakfast Time with Waffle and Richard. Following, of course, a big weekend. It was, of course, Super Bowl weekend, and the game did not disappoint. A lot of fun to watch. Waffle, now, did you do anything special, a little party or any get-togethers for the Super Bowl this weekend?
It's probably the most low key I've been for a Super Bowl in my life, I feel like, but still did a few things. Just got together with a couple people and just made I made some like chicken salad and some like little finger foods. Nothing too big because we're all adults and we all have to go to work the next morning. Even though the Super Bowl starts at 6:30, which is great.
Love that. Totally. Got out of there by 10:15. Love it.
Yeah. Sound asleep at 10:30. Good time. Very good. But yeah, just a little get together. It was fun. I had a really good time watching the game. It was a great game.
Yeah, sounds good. I didn't do a whole lot either. I finally had a day off of work, so I just stayed at home and laid around all day. I think I got picked up a pizza and some wings and just had myself a little party myself. But yeah,
sounds beautiful.
Yeah, fun night, and of course a fun game with the Rams knocking off the Bengals 23-20. Started off kind of slow if you look at it play-by-play wise. Both teams trading punts, but of course on the second possession, Bengals go for it on downs, and Joe Burrow, the first mistake, and Joe Burrow didn't really play a great game in this one, and this was kind of the first one that kind of cost them. Joe Burrow has a wide open T. Higgins on a little out route. No one's around him. He gets about 8 yards, but he decides to throw inside the chase, and the play design leads to an incomplete pass. So that was the first miscue by the Bengals, I'd say, there. And it cost them because Odell Beckham and Matt Stafford, an absolute dime to Odell Beckham Jr. to take the early lead.
Yep.
Both teams trade points, and finally a field goal by Evan McPherson makes it 7-3 at the end of the first quarter. And then the Rams look like they're going to take over. They marched down just 6 plays in 2.5 minutes and a touchdown. And the good is Cooper Kupp, who gets a touchdown. But then miscues by the Rams. They fumble the snap on the extra point, and Matt Gay just has to Johnny Hekker, has to first throw it away. And it's only a 13-3 game, so the Bengals still in it, and they answered with their own long drive, a 12-play, 75-yard drive, and they run it's called the Skyline Chili Special. I think that's what they're calling it, with Joe Mixon.
Yeah.
Gets the halfback pass to T. Higgins. Somebody put money on that and won about $10,000 before Joe Mixon have a touchdown.
God bless.
Which is insane.
What a hit.
But yeah, hits T. Higgins back at the end zone. Extra point's good. And, trying to get some momentum, and they do. An interception by Matt Stafford, which I feel like is one of those he has a game, because Matt Stafford throws a lot of interceptions at times. But and it just happened again in the end zone. But that was big for the Bengals defense. Both teams trade points and go to halftime with the Rams on top 13-10. What was a good game, but what were kind of your thoughts after the first half of this game between these two teams?
Well, first half, I thought once we were at halftime, like it's still anybody's game. Like, it looked like LA was going to take over after that 75-yard touchdown drive to put them up 10. And the Bengals answered right back with the 12-play drive capped off by the halfback pass. So got them right back in it. And then Stafford, trying to make a play happen, tells Van Jefferson to, keep going, and he chucks it up there, which is not necessarily terrible, but throws it up there and, it gets picked off. But another example of the Bengals kind of hurting themselves, and I know I bring up this Titans game a lot, but they did it then too. Like when Mike Hilton made that great play to intercept Ryan Tannehill when he was throwing the bubble screen, they got a unsportsmanlike conduct penalty after that, backed them up. Bengals ended up punting, and then you got momentum there, and they get another unsportsmanlike conduct penalty after that interception. I believe that was when somebody from the sideline who was not dressed came onto the field. Like, you gotta know, like, you gotta stop that kind of stuff.
Slides with towel wrapped around on the field.
And there wasn't a whole lot of time left. I mean, there was plenty of time for them to go down there and make something happen. And I'm not necessarily saying that penalty killed the drive, but it definitely didn't help.
Yeah.
But going into halftime, I thought it was anybody's game. and I knew we were going to be in for a good finish.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of halftime, of course, the halftime show I thought was pretty good. With
Yeah, I thought it was really good.
Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Mary J. Blige, Kendrick Lamar, and Eminem. You know, when you get that many people together, you kind of wonder how good it's going to be. If it can live up to the hype. I think it did. I think it was kind of like, you know, the NFL's had a lot of the older bands play the past few years, and now kind of phased them out for the younger bands now.
Yeah.
But now, of course, these bands are actually kind of older because
Yeah.
Eminem's an old man. Eminem's like 45. Like
all of them are.
Yeah, all of them are old. Snoop Dogg's old. Dr. Dre's old.
Yeah.
Kendrick Lamar was the youngest one up there. So
yeah. You know, this generation of kids in high school, like they're, you know, unless they're really just into rap and they've explored the older stuff, like all of them, like kids nowadays don't necessarily know who they are, which is so crazy to me. Yeah. And that just shows how old that we're getting. But, you know, people like that, they just don't know him. And it's like, you know, you had the demographic, like I saw it on Facebook, like people above the age of 50, like all the boomers, they hated it. This is the worst halftime show of all time. The dirty language, what the blah, blah, blah. And then you got kids like below the age of like 16, or it's like, who even is this? And then everybody in the middle is just kind of like, let's go. This is great.
My man 50 Cent was fighting for his life, though, singing in the club. My God, he tried to recreate. It's like, it ain't 2003 anymore.
Bruh, what kills me about that is they promoted that it was, you know, obviously Snoop, Dr. Dre, Mary J. Blige, Kendrick, and Eminem. And then all of a sudden, Snoop and Dre do their thing, and then all of a sudden it's 50 Cent. And I'm just like, where did he come from? Like, what? Nobody said a word about him being here. How did he get here? Did he just sneak in, or what's going on?
Sorry, I had Disney music playing for some reason. I was showing the commercial. We're going to Disney World commercial with the Browns on the ESPN. Sorry. No, yeah, that was just out of nowhere. I was like, oh hey. He's like,
it's like,
I'm like,
I thought that I was like, he wasn't on the bill, so who didn't make it? So who's not here? Is Eminem not going to be here, or who's not here?
Then randomly Anderson .Paak's on drums for "Lose Yourself" out of nowhere too.
I noticed that. I saw the drum set. His kick drum had Anderson .Paak on it, and I was like, wait, now hold up. How many people are actually here?
I know that was wild, but I mean, are you shocked that Snoop Dogg took a hit off a blunt right before he went up to the show? Are we that surprised? People are out there making a big deal.
Why? People are making such a big deal about it.
You've never seen Snoop Dogg for the past 50 years of his life.
Right. Somebody posted on Twitter, like they quote tweeted maybe New York Times or whoever put it up, and they were just like, it's always the ones you least expect. And that killed me.
I saw one that said, he probably did it right after too. I was waiting for it but apparently people who were at the game covering it said as soon as Snoop Dogg went up there, it just smelled like weed in the entire stadium.
I wouldn't doubt it.
People waited till their chance.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Also funny, Evan McPherson just stayed on the sideline.
Oh yeah, I saw
this and was just chilling there. I mean, if I was the kicker, I'd do that too. So like, okay. You gotta be first to warm up anyway, so I'd just be like,
right.
Only chance to do this, okay? Just sit there.
Still, it always amazes me how quick they're able to get all this stuff set up, do the show, get it out of here, and then we go right back to playing a football game. It always blows my mind.
Yeah, and this was a more simpler set than the past years, I feel like, just the different buildings and stuff. But still, these are like life-size buildings. Like, people are standing on top of them. They're inside them. Eminem rose up from out of them.
Yeah.
And you got all these dancers and stuff, and they got them on and off. I think it took about 5 minutes before the halftime show, and about 5 minutes after, we're back playing football, getting ready for kickoff. So
yeah, it's crazy too. Like, it always gets a lot of hype, no matter who it is at the halftime show. And you hype it. They do all this stuff, make sure everything's right, and then it's 15 minutes, and then all right, we're done.
Yeah, insane. But no, solid halftime show, really a good show for sure. And then coming back out, the fireworks continued. First play of the drive of the Bengals. Controversial play, probably offensive pass interference.
Ain't no probably to it. It was.
Jalen Ramsey gets wide open and scores a touchdown since he takes the lead. And then right after that, Matthew Stafford throws another interception. And all I can think is, oh my gosh, they're going to let the Bengals come back and just roll.
Yeah.
It's like as the Bengals woke up. And then the Bengals get stopped, only get a field goal. 20-13. But that first play where literally knocks down Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah.
T. Higgins grabs the face mask, and Jalen Ramsey, you can say all you want about him. I still think he's one of the best corners. He talks a lot of crap, but he kind of mostly backs it up for the most part.
Yeah.
And he had been in control of T. Higgins for the most part, except for a couple of plays. But that one, that's bad. And I can't believe that one wasn't called.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it either. Now, this was a game where they were letting them play. Like, I mean, we'll get into it later, but up until the last, 5 minutes of the game, they kept those flags in their pockets. That's for sure.
I think there were 4 combined penalties up until that point.
Yeah,
something like that. They let them play. So
but they missed that one. I don't know how you can miss that, because you see the replay and T. Higgins clearly grabbed his face mask and Jalen Ramsey goes down, but it worked out in the Bengals' favor and they got a 75-yard touchdown out of it. So screw it.
They get the field goal. You're up 20-13, and then the Rams have to answer, and they get a field goal of their own.
Mm-hmm.
And Ben Scarrotta came up big on that drive too. He was kind of a quiet player too in this game, especially when Odell Beckham goes down on this drive. Mm-hmm. Odell Beckham goes down hurt, and that really affected the entire offense of the Rams. But the Rams made the defensive changes as well. They start overloading the side with the younger offensive linemen for the Bengals, and Aaron Donald finally got to work. And you see it on here, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. A 5-play negative 2-yard drop for the Bengals. 3 and out by the Rams. And then the Bengals' last main drop for their final drop was a 7-play drive at the punch. So the defenses both woke up. The Rams, Matthew Stafford, they had to fix it. But I kind of followed back in my head. Now, Stafford played for years in Detroit with 1 good receiver, maybe 2. And now you take away his second best option in Odell Beckham. He's already lost his third best. Yeah, he's already lost his third best option in Robert Woods earlier in the year. He lost his other best tight end in Tyler Higbee. Just give him Cooper Kupp, and he's fine.
Yep.
You're in a 15-play, 79-yard drive, but there is controversy.
Yes.
So here we go. It's 2nd and 2 at about the 16. Cam Akers gets an 8-yard run. We go to 2-minute warning. First and goal at the 8, incomplete pass. Second goal at the 8, incomplete pass. Third and goal at the 8. Stafford throws it short to Cooper Kupp. It's going to be 4th down. Flag on the plate for holding on Logan Wilson. Now, that is a mismatch. Logan Wilson on Cooper Kupp. Logan Wilson kept up with Cooper Kupp pretty well, and I thought he did nothing wrong. Mm-hmm. Because earlier in the game, Jalen Ramsey had a similar play against Jamar Chase, I think it's T. Higgins, actually.
Yeah, it was Higgins.
Yeah. Did similar contact, more egregious contact, I think, where he actually pulled on the jersey.
Yeah. And
that guy was a no call.
Right.
And so I'm not more mad at the call. I'm mad at the fact that I don't think you can call it that late.
Right. It's a horrible call, 100%. It's a terrible call, and it should have not been called. But, well, no, there's no but. It was a horrible call.
Yeah. So Logan Wilson, I think, did a fine job. So it should be 4th and goal. Here's the game, but instead it's 1st and goal at the 4. Cooper Kupp, Stafford has to roll out, throws the Kupp wide in the back of the end zone, touchdown, flag on the play. It's all holding on the Rams. Okay, but there's a hit by Von Bell.
Mm-hmm.
It's ruled unnecessary roughness.
Yep.
Now, live and even in slow-mo, I think it is the technicality of it's the one that's technically that is helmet to helmet, but I didn't think it was that egregious. It just looked like a good hit by Von Bell trying to jar the ball loose, and Cooper Kupp held on. Because Kupp got right back up. He was fine.
Yeah.
But I think it's one of those where if you have to do the definition of this is a helmet-to-helmet hit, it technically was a helmet-to-helmet hit.
Yeah.
And, if that's not called, then, it goes 1st and goal at 14. Or, 14 instead of nullifying down.
Right.
But, it's, I don't know. And that's just a weird call again.
Yeah, for sure.
So 1st and goal at the 4 once again. Passing complete to Cooper Kupp in the end zone, but this time penalty on Eli Apple. Now this one is a penalty.
Mm-hmm.
And Eli Apple deserves all the slander. My God.
Man, that boy got torched on Twitter.
Yeah. But another play that happened, I think it was on this play or maybe another play. The entire Rams offensive line moved early. And this may have been on the third and goal play where Logan Wilson is called too.
Yeah.
So it should have been offsetting penalties, which made it worse. But the offensive line for the Rams does move early and, doesn't get called. But then first goal at the 1, about 95 seconds left. Stafford tries a quarterback sneak, doesn't get it. Cincinnati has to call a timeout. Second and goal at the 1, Cooper Kupp. Guess who he's on? Eli Apple. And guess what? Touchdown Rams.
Yep.
And the extra point's good. So here you go. Bengals time to shine. They have minute 25 left. Joe Burrow throws it to Jamar Chase. He gets 17 yards, first down. You only need a field goal to tie it. Now, the Bengals are going to want to get the touchdown.
Yeah.
If you only need a field goal, you have a good kicker. Joe Burrow throws it up the middle to Tyler Boyd. Only gets 9 yards. Eric Weddle, which we need to talk about him more too. But Eric Weddle gets a tackle to stop him short.
Yeah.
Then Joe Burrow, this is a weird play that's going to get – I don't think I talked about either. Instead of calling a timeout, instead of trying to run a no-huddle quick out route, they only need 1 yard. Joe Burrow just throws the ball in the direction of Jamar Chase, but it looked like there was no plan by the Bengals. It looked like it was just, let's just get the ball out of bounds.
Yeah. So
that's an interesting point. So then 3rd and 1, the Bengals, whose rushing game had been fine, Samaje Perine tries to run it, and Gaines. Now, Aaron Donald gets the first hit, but Gaines comes flying up to make this a short across the field. That's a heck of a play by him. Forces the Bengals to use a timeout. 43 seconds left. Well, if you've seen the meme, everybody's seen the meme, where it is Bengals O-line with Penei Sewell, or with a good or competent O-line or something like that. It's a drawing. It's just the O-line blocking successfully. Joe Burrow throws a pass to wide open Jamar Chase. And underneath it says, Bengals offensive line now. It says Jamar Chase wide open. Joe Burrow's getting sacked.
Yeah.
The meme became reality, folks.
It came full circle, which is so crazy.
Yeah.
Despite how great of a season Cincinnati has had, which they had a fantastic season, and I think they are justified in picking Jamar Chase because of how a dominant playmaker he could become. But it did come full circle. It is so crazy because on this 4th and 1 play from the Rams 49, Joe Burrow, Aaron Donald absolutely whoops Quentin Spain.
Yeah.
Spain doesn't even touch him. Donald's already got his hands on Burrow. Chase is down the field. Ramsey is on the ground. I don't know how it happened.
Yeah.
Regardless of how it happened, if Joe Burrow has a second left, that is a touchdown, and the Bengals are taking the lead.
Yeah, Bengals take the lead with 40 seconds left or so.
But Aaron Donald got there. Joe Burrow tried to, just make something happen. And live, I was like, P-Rod, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Because I thought he really had a chance to catch it.
Yeah.
I thought he really had a chance to catch that ball, but he just let it hit the ground, and that's it. Yep. And the image of Aaron Donald after that play holding the helmet and being like, ring me, that's going to be iconic. That is so nice. Yeah.
I don't think you can say the refs cost the Bengals this game. I don't think you can say that. There's a lot of issues. The Bengals could have taken control when they got up 20-13. They didn't. They could have taken control when Odell Beckham went down. They didn't. Yes, I think you can't call those calls when you haven't called them all game, though. I won't say that. But so I think the Bengals do have some righteous anger for sure. But again, the thing we all said would probably cost the Bengals ended up costing the Bengals. And again, Jamar Chase pick is a fine pick looking back at it still. But man, again, I said too, I was like, they picked up Jackson Carman in the second round, great player out of Clemson. He's not a Penei Sewell. He's not any of these other free agent offensive linemen like Andrew Whitworth, who they let walk 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And it came back to bite them. But man, this is a good game. This is a fun game this year. And Matthew Stafford deserves it. for sure.
Yes, he does.
You know, the guy has been, of course, as it was in Detroit, slaving away on teams that gave him no help.
Mm-hmm.
He had one big receiver in Calvin Johnson. He retired early because he got no help either. And gets traded to the Rams. The Rams do everything to help him. They go get OBJ. They make sure Cooper Kupp's in good standing there. They re-sign Cam Akers there. They try to get all their running back. They get Sonny Michel squared away. They get Von Miller to help them out too. All about the defense out. They get Eric Weddle, who was playing basketball at the YMCA before the playoffs started, and they go grab him. And Matthew Stafford, had the stereotypical Matthew Stafford game where they get up early. He kind of messes around a bit sometimes, but he comes in clutch when you need him. And Matthew Stafford, congrats to him. He absolutely deserves all of this. Aaron Donald deserves this for how much he's had to go through in his career. He said he might retire at 30, which could be wild to see.
It's crazy, but
hey, what else can you do, really? You've gotten the Super Bowl. You've gotten the Defensive Player of the Year trophy.
God bless. He's been All-Pro, I think 7 out of the 8 years he's been in the league or something like that.
It's
ridiculous.
Eric Weddle, the big story too. Remember, he didn't want to leave San Diego when the Chargers were leaving, and he ended up going to Baltimore, retired from there, playing basketball, comes back, had a torn pec, and played the final 3 quarters of that game.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
Props to him. I mean, my man's got up off the couch to play some playoff football and went and won a ring and said, all right, yeah, I'm done for real now.
And played well. Like, he didn't just show up and just run around. He played very well in the Super Bowl and the playoffs.
Yeah.
And he's going to go back and retire again. And I think OBJ deserves it too. He played so hard this year. And, of course, without him, they don't score that first touchdown. It's probably a completely different ball game early.
Yeah. Thinking back on OBJ, like I used to hate him.
Yeah.
I hated him so much when he was a Giant and he feuded with Josh Norman.
Mm-hmm.
Now, even, regardless of how I feel now, like I still feel like back then it's justified because of the stuff that OBJ did. Like just that, the only thing that pops into my mind is that, after the play's over, OBJ run full speed, puts his helmet right into the side of Josh Norman.
Yeah.
When he's not looking, like that's cheap, no matter who you are. But since then, I've come to realize how much I hate Josh Norman. And you know what? I'm actually very happy for OBJ. So just Josh Norman sucks. I cannot stand him.
Oh, man. No, but yeah, good for OBJ, even though he didn't finish out the game. You can see the emotion on his face, too. Finally got one, after, being with the Giants, and them, and he was with Eli Manning, and of course, they couldn't quite get one, the Browns, the whole mess of the Browns, where he wanted to get out of there, and they finally let him loose, and he got one. So that's big. I don't think the Bengals are done. I don't think this is your one and done. I think Joe Burrow is one of those future stars we talked about, especially with, Big Ben's gone, Tom Brady's gone. There's a new guard coming in.
Oh, yeah. And we talked about it before. The slew of AFC young talent at quarterback position in the AFC there's a ton of it.
Yeah, the AFC is going to be a stack of quarterbacks. That's the only difficult thing, I would say. But also, they're in a good spot.
Look at their division. Next year, obviously, we have questions with the Steelers. And then questions with the Browns because they took a step back this year. But that fully healthy Ravens team versus that Bengals team, that's going to be fun for years to come. Yeah,
and then of course you have Chase and Higgins still young, Joe Mixon still young on that offense. Tyler Boyd's still kind of the anchor of that offense too. So big for them. Rams, we got to see what happens with Aaron Donald if he decides to walk away. Von Miller, you got to see what happens with him. I think he's just a 1-year guy. But, you got Kupp locked down, and I still think Cooper Kupp should have won MVP. I still think that. Rodgers put up all the numbers. I get that. But, man, if you look – again, it's not a postseason award, but, man, Cooper Kupp was insane this year. And
what I don't get is that Rodgers' numbers weren't even better than Brady's.
Yeah.
In terms of, what Brady was doing at his age and 5,000 passing yards and all this stuff, Rodgers is great, and he's always going to be a candidate for it because, like we've said before, it has become a quarterback award. And Rodgers is just so good that he's always going to be a consideration, kind of like Tom Brady always was. But I still, it doesn't sit right with me after looking at the looking at the stats, which stats aren't everything. I get that.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I mean, look at Cooper Kupp's seasons. Unbelievable.
Yeah, I just think without him, especially with Robert Woods down at the beginning part, and you say you don't get OBJ early, how many games do the Rams win? That's my big thing. So, no. But yeah, no, I think Cooper Kupp's already got the Super Bowl MVP, which is big for him. Guy only had 2 offers out of college to Eastern Washington and Idaho State, which is wild to think about.
Yeah.
And absolutely killed it with the Eagles and ended up getting drafted. So great job. Great story for him. You know, he's one of those guys who could retire early if he wanted to. I mean, he just wants to get the MVP probably. But, you know, overall, NFL, the last 7 games of the year were insane.
Yeah, they were.
This is one of the highest rated NFL seasons, I think they said, in TV ratings. I think part of that has to do with fans being back too, I think, this year. But also just every game felt important, no matter who was playing it. Even those ones, like I told you, the Lions and the Vikings had a game that was insanely good.
Yeah.
Washington, Seattle had a game that was insanely good. Games that didn't mean anything really, but were insanely good. Now, of course, you move forward, it could be an entirely different look NFL, especially in the NFC, because Aaron Rodgers is a free agent. Russell Wilson might be leaving.
Yeah.
Also, Kyler Murray. There might be some discussions about him out of Arizona.
There's drama out there.
So the NFC is going to be kind of wide open. No Tom Brady back in the league. First time.
I'll be interested to see what they do. Are they going to commit to Trask, or are they going to try to grab somebody?
And then, of course, you have the drama in San Francisco with Trey Lance and Jimmy Garoppolo. Trey Lance is the leading odds for the MVP. He didn't start this year.
Yeah, that's crazy. Jimmy G should be getting a job somewhere. He'll have probably a starting role that's on some other team too. So
then, of course, AFC, you have Carson Wentz, Ryan Tannehill. I know their futures are kind of up in the air. Teddy Bridgewater's future up in the air in Denver.
Yeah,
I think. And then, of course, you know, we talk about the good quarterbacks coming back. You have, of course, Burrow, Mahomes, Allen, Derek Carr, Justin Herbert. If Lamar Jackson's healthy, it'll be good. And then of course you got to see what the Steelers are going to do. They could draft somebody in what's considered a draft class that may not be full of great quarterbacks, but some people are hoping they find diamonds in the rough. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens for sure there. Another interesting thing regarding the Bills, you know, week 1, they always put that Thursday night game, Super Bowl champion against somebody. It might be the Bills and the Rams to open up the season, which is a heck of a game to start the year with.
Yeah, it would be.
So that'd be a lot of fun. But, you know, kind of right now, we kind of sit and wait, look at the free agency. Packers have said they're going to go all in to keep Rodgers there. And Rodgers, you know, he broke off his engagement with Cheyenne Woodley. I don't know if that means anything.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. That Colts and Carson Wentz, I've seen a bunch of reports saying that Carson Wentz, like $13.5 million of his guaranteed salary will become fully guaranteed after March 19th. So if the Colts are going to move him, they're going to move him soon. They're going to move him, either trade him or, you know, cut him before March 19th, which if they trade him or cut him, like that's a disaster.
Yeah.
Just because, you know, for what they gave up, I mean, Philly's got it's their first round pick this year.
Yep.
The Colts do not have a first round pick this year because they used it to get Carson Wentz in. And if you're going to offload him after 1 year, that's tough.
Yeah. Yeah. Another thing, the weirdest one I think is the whole NFC South is going to be weird next year because who the Bucs go with, who the Saints go with a new coach.
Yeah.
Falcons, this might be it for Matt Ryan soon.
Yeah.
And this is the time for y'all to take advantage because, I mean, the Bucs are still going to have a good defense next year. Mm-hmm. Saints, I think, are still going to be fine. They stayed with it with, you know, God knows who, Trevor Siemian run out there quarterback this year. They still stayed in the race. And then the Panthers just garbage fire.
Yeah, it's so dumb.
Even though I did say, and I hated it for him, I did see Kenny Pickett might be going to them. I'm like, please don't ruin my poor boy. Don't ruin that poor boy.
They're gonna ruin him.
Yeah, but I'm also
they'll throw him, Darnold, and Newton out there all in the same game.
Yeah, and just see what happens. I'm like, stop. See, I think the plan is, you know, what I think the conspiracy is, have a crappy season next year, but pick up a decent quarterback, fire Matt Rule, go get Brian Flores.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all I think of. We'll see what happens. But, Panthers will find their way to mess around and be horrible. And Christian McCaffrey will get hurt again, or hopefully. I hope he doesn't because I like him. But it seems like he gets hurt every single year.
I laugh at that, but I laugh at that in the most wholesome way possible. Like, I really don't want him to get hurt, but, at this point.
He keeps doing it. So, yeah. Again, the Jags, I saw something that said most improved teams. Number one is going to be the Jags, but they said the Jags are gone. Listen, if the Jags win 5 games, they're the most improved teams. They only won 2 last year, but one was against, of course, over the Bills out of nowhere.
Yeah.
The Bills, the 1 seed. Still not over that.
Yeah.
And that's another quarterback, Trevor Lawrence. Hopefully he gets to actually develop this year instead of having to deal with Urban Meyer doing God knows what.
Right.
At his steakhouse. So yeah, that's a fun NFL season. Interesting to see. I like it's wild though. The Bills and Titans, we're happy they finished and won the divisions, but now they gotta play that tough first seed schedule where you gotta play the number ones in every single division.
Yeah.
Here. So that's not gonna be help them at all because the Bills have to play the Bills and Titans play again.
Yeah.
They gotta play the Bengals, you gotta play the Chiefs.
Yeah.
And then you gotta go play the Rams or somebody from the NFC that's number 1 too. So
yeah,
it's gonna be some tough games. And then of course, if Mac Jones can continue to develop, that's another guy, Mac Jones, and then Tua.
Yeah.
And then of course the Jets are the Jets. So
right. Yeah, who knows?
But and
we'll see.
The Texans are the Texans. So
yeah.
Even though Davis Mills out of nowhere, just this guy's not bad.
See, and that's why I feel so strongly about what Tennessee's trying to do. Obviously, they're not going to fire Todd Downing, but they're bringing in Tim Kelly, who was Davis Mills' offensive coordinator this past year. If Tim Kelly can do that with Davis Mills, surely he could come in and help out Ryan Tannehill. I'm optimistic. I want to say I'm over the loss, but I think I have moved on from the Bengals loss more than a lot of other Titans fans that I'm following on Twitter have. But you know what? We're looking forward to a new season. April 28th. That's the NFL draft. I freaking love the draft. The draft's like a holiday for me. Like as soon as April hits, it's like Masters week, and then I'm just like, all right, draft. And then I look forward to it so much. And that Thursday night is always a fun time. So I'll be excited to see what Tennessee does. Yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. Interesting what the Bills do. Seeing Darion Kendrick to the Bills, which makes me very happy, especially with guys like Isaiah McKenzie up on free agency and some guys, hopefully they can keep all those guys, but we'll see what happens there. I have one more quick thing, 2 quick things. I've seen a lot of, if you get sucked into the Mel Kiper and the Todd McShays, big boards and their mock drafts, I've seen so many people having Tennessee take a linebacker in the first round. And I swear to God, if we take a linebacker, I will lose my mind. I will absolutely lose it. If we are not going after a freaking tight end or a offensive line, I'm going to lose my mind. Or a wide receiver 3, just get an athlete. I don't know. Yeah. I would lose my mind. And the second thing, I just have to shout this out because I'm very petty. The Bengals. Quentin Spain was the starting offensive lineman for the Tennessee Titans and also the Buffalo Bills. Yep. Over the past couple of years. The last time Spain started for the Titans was Marcus Mariota's last full year. Good teams, but he wasn't on the team that went to the AFC Championship game or anything. This man, after that Titans-Bengals game, talked a lot of trash to Jeffrey Simmons, which it's fine. You won the game. I get it. But when they had 9 sacks against you, that is I don't think that's the correct position to trash talk. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So there's already some animosity there, and Titans fans be giving him crap, including myself. Giving him crap for the past couple of weeks. And then to see him absolutely whiff on Aaron Donald, and Aaron Donald just freaking whip him and get Joe Burrow and win. Quentin Spain lost the Super Bowl for the Bengals. You can't change my mind. And we love to see it. That's all I'm trying to say. We love to see it. Jeffrey Simmons is So petty.
Yeah.
After the game was over, he tweeted out, "Damn, 67," talking about quitting Spain, and then that started a back and forth between them. Well, good times, good times.
Yeah.
I wonder. I seriously wonder what Cincinnati's going to do, because obviously they do need offensive line help, but I wonder who from that offensive line is still going to be there, and I wonder if it's going to be Quentin Spain, because I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't. And that's all I'm going to say.
Well, then of course Eli Apple getting all the shade from
God,
everybody.
that was so funny.
It was from random people too that didn't even play with him.
Yeah, the freaking the burnt toast picture just kills me.
Yes. The Tyreek Hill got on first, showing off his ring and saying, "Hey man, if you work hard at your craft, maybe you'll get one of these ones."
Yeah, him and Mecole Hardman.
Yeah, and Michael Thomas is like, that's just Eli. Like, oh, no, you played with him. You can't be saying that.
Dude. They were killing him.
They're killing that man, the quote treats right now.
Yeah. Oh, and something else I wanted to mention about that Rams-Bengals Super Bowl. On that drive where the Rams took the lead, they went to Cooper Kupp 4 straight times. And that's just, in those situations, that's what you have to do. Exactly, you can't get cute with it. In that situation, when the game is on the line, the Super Bowl, everything you play for is on the line. You have to have that ball go through your best players, and that is Matt Stafford to Cooper Kupp. And they did it 4 straight times, and it worked out. That's why Cooper Kupp should have been the MVP. That's why he won Super Bowl MVP. There you go.
Yeah, and that's why Bills at the end of that Chiefs game, they stopped running the ball, and they were like, "Josh Allen, you do whatever you can. Because
right,
you're your best player." And that's why they almost won the game, except for the defense. Still not over that. But we'll move forward eventually. But yeah, good NFL season. A lot of fun. A lot of heartbreak, sadly. But drafts coming up. It's going to be a lot to see. Going to be interesting to see what free agency happens here in the next few weeks, of course, with a bunch of people moving around. But now we can get full attention to college basketball. And, of course, it's almost the end of February, which means it's almost tournament time, especially conference time. And, we're recording this on a Wednesday, and already you got a major upset in the Big Ten. Rutgers is rolling over Illinois, 45-28 right now.
Yep.
Alabama and Mississippi State are tied at 47 right now, too. Alabama is the weirdest team, I think.
Yeah.
In that they're probably going to get like that 5-12 game or a 7-10 game where they could beat somebody. They could upset a 2 seed in the second round. Or they could lose the first round to somebody they have no business losing. Or to a good mid-major team, like a Davidson or a Wyoming or somebody like that.
Yeah.
Because, they played, you ignore the Kentucky game, but they beat the tar out of Baylor.
Yeah.
And they were competitive Auburn, but then just, I don't know, they lose to, like Missouri, Austin, Missouri.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just a weird team. Later tonight, Baylor and Texas Tech will play each other in what's a big game. Those 2 teams going back and forth. The Big 12 is wild this year, too.
Yeah.
For sure. This week for our teams, of course, Duke, first knock off Boston College. Pretty academic win, 72-61 on the road. In a place I feel like Duke usually struggles in.
Yeah, they usually do, it seems like.
Yeah, but this year, pretty calm and collected. Gonzaga picked a big win over St. Mary's, who kind of has been charged in their bubble team. Beat them 74-58. Auburn stays on top, beating Texas A&M 75-58 after losing to Arkansas earlier in the week. Kentucky rolls over Florida. Memphis, who has been so up and down. We're number 12 in the country to start the year, and then, of course, go on the road and knock off Houston, who's number 6 in the country.
Yeah.
So I guess if Memphis is getting hot at the right time, at least, Kansas holds off Oklahoma. Baylor rolled over Texas. Providence beat DePaul in overtime the other week. Providence is probably the worst 3-loss team now in the country. In that they are like Alabama. They have beaten some teams, but they have gotten so lucky against some garbage teams in the Big East.
Yeah.
Like DePaul and like Georgetown and like Butler and all them. So that's wild. USC beats UCLA. UCLA, I think, has lost 3 in a row now since starting off real hot. So that'll be something to watch out for. Villanova, they beat Providence the other night to get their 20th win. Villanova looks good under Jay Wright still. Ohio State beat Michigan. I feel like Michigan's a bubble team right now, but they don't think they have a lot of good wins. Tennessee beat Vanderbilt and then beat Kentucky the other night. A big-time game.
Yeah, beat them big.
Yeah, so Tennessee starting to get hot again. So, you got some good teams, and then of course, tonight Duke had a hold on against Wake Forest, a good Wake Forest team. They got the highest scoring player in the country in the ACC, and Jake Laravia, who had double-double. On a wild ending where the ball bounces around. Mark Williams gets the dunk at the end. It's a controversial call, but it looks like he just got it in. And then Wake Forest, shades of the Butler championship game.
Bro, this is what I've been waiting to talk about. If that shot would have gone in, that is the single greatest buzzer beater in the history of basketball.
It was a line drive, quarterback. Screw it, the bucket's down there, throw.
Yeah, it was 3/4 courts, if not a little bit more, maybe 7/8 of a court long. Like, it was ridiculous, and it was so close. And like he threw it up, and I was like, and then it got closer, and I was like, it looks like it's going to hit the backboard. It just clanged off the front of the rim, and I was just like, oh my God, I cannot believe that.
Game over, and I was like, oh my God,
unreal. Let's talk about Duke real quick, because the last time we talked to you, that was after their loss to Virginia.
Yeah.
So Duke comes back that Thursday night when we put out the last pod, and they do beat Clemson. They beat them by 18 on the road. I think it was fairly competitive for a little while, but Trevor Keels had 25, a lot of those late in the game, kind of garbage time. But I feel like we have to mention what happened with Wendell Moore and David Collins. Just, Wendell Moore got the steal on David Collins. Wendell Moore goes down there. It's a wide open dunk. David Collins just full speed. Lowers the shoulder, undercuts him, and it's just a dangerous play. And I just want to say this, every single person on the face of the earth knows who Grayson Allen is if you watch any shred of basketball. And every single person on the face of the earth that religiously watches basketball has an opinion on Duke. And either Duke is not an in-between team. Duke is either you love them or you hate them. And there's no in-between on that. So a lot of people bringing up Grayson Allen stuff, and I'm not saying that one is worse than the other, because there's no place in either. Yeah, there's no place for either thing to happen in basketball, whether it's Grayson Allen tripping somebody or it's David Collins doing that. But to the people that keep bringing up that Grayson Allen stuff, I don't want to freaking hear it. David Collins, what he did, there's no place for any of it in basketball. And Wendell Moore is very lucky he was not hurt. He was good to go after that play, but definitely a scary moment. And I cannot believe, because David Collins did not get any suspension, correct?
He got one game.
He did get one game.
Notre Dame game, yeah.
Well, but that wasn't the next game, correct?
It was the next game. Yeah, he missed.
It was.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I never saw that he got suspended, because I thought that, because we were talking about it at some point. Oh, it was Saturday. At the Lander game. Yeah. I was talking to somebody, and I still hadn't heard that he had gotten suspended yet. And I was about to say, if he did not get suspended for that, but Grayson Allen got suspended for that, then I was really going to flip my lid. But anyway, There's no place for any of that in college basketball. So glad Wendell Moore was okay. Duke got the win, then went to Boston College like we talked about. Normally a tough place. Got the win there. And then this game last night. I told you last week Super Tuesday was going to be good. Mm-hmm. And was I right? I was right. Duke up 19, blows another lead. Now, Wake Forest is a really good team, but blows another lead at home, which is odd for a Duke team. Like, this Duke team doesn't play their best at home, which is, not like all the other Duke teams in history. But Duke survives after Wake Forest comes back, and that freaking with that play by Mark Williams was nasty. Yeah. And I do think it was just barely off the rim. It's a clean play. They reviewed it. He dunked it back in very nice, but that freaking full court shot, if that would have went in, man, I couldn't have helped but been impressed with that. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, for sure. Speaking of Clemson, this basketball team finds new ways to break my heart every week.
Always.
I love it. Since the new year started, they have won 3 games. Over NC State, I was at that one, so at least I got to see them win in person. Against Pitt, who is garbage, and against Florida State, who's just up and down this year. But here's their last week. Of course, we talked to you about this. They played North Carolina, Lost by 2 in overtime. Had a perfect look to send it to double OT. Fast break chance. BJ Hall's wide open. They just missed the layup.
Mm-hmm.
Take on Duke. Foul happens. Duke pulls away 82-64. Okay. Play Notre Dame. No David Collins. That was 76-61. Fine. You're playing the two best teams in the conference back to back. Fine. Take the losses. Playing Florida State again. You have a chance to get a sweep over a rival.
Mm-hmm.
And a team that's ahead of you. You can pass them. You're up by 2 toward the end. You just got to play defense. Even if they make a shot, the worst they can do is tie it if they make a 2-pointer. Yeah, they make the shot, and then they get fouled. Free throw, good. Clemson's got 4 seconds to get a shot off. They miss it, and lose 81-80.
Yep.
They're 12-14. They're not making the NCAA tournament or the NIT or any tournament unless they win the conference tournament. With Louisville on the road. This is what I have left. Louisville on the road. Wake Forest at home. That's going to be a loss. I got to go all the way up to Boston College. And Georgia Tech and Virginia Tech at home. You can beat Georgia Tech, Louisville. Boston College is kind of iffy because that's a tough place to play. And Virginia Tech's happy because Mike Owens is a good coach. I don't know if you get rid of Brad Brownell, but I think you got to start talking about it more. Because that man's kind of been coasting off that Sweet 16 run.
Yeah.
And last year, it was supposed to be a good team, and they lost in the first round to Rutgers. Again, Rutgers was kind of a Cinderella story last year, a really good team.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere. Man, and I like Brownell as a person. He's a good person. I think he's still a good coach. And again, Hunter Tyson hurt this year. Nick Honor has been great. You don't have a Amir Sims on this team.
Mm-hmm.
But, man, it's just kind of like, you gotta talk about it, I think, at some point.
Yeah, I mean,
because they've beaten the bottom half. They even got a win over Virginia early in the year. And you've beaten the bottom half of this conference, but there's just so many times you go out against the good teams in this conference and just do nothing against them, or you come close, but you can't beat them, and that's when it's like you gotta beat. You can't just beat the Pits and then lose to Duke.
Yeah.
You gotta win at least one of those, or you gotta beat somebody good. And their only ACC wins are Virginia, which is now a good win, but at the time didn't look like it. Pitt and NC State and Waffle, and Florida State. So 4 ACC wins this year.
Yeah. Well, look at it like this. The Sweet 16 happened in the 17-18 season.
Yeah.
The year following, they make it to the NIT. And they lose in the second round of the NIT to Wichita. You come back 1920. Obviously, this was COVID. Yeah. It was weird. Things, stopped. But they were 16-15, so they're regressing again.
They were the game that was going to happen again on the ACC tournament when the COVID got stopped, because it was supposed to be them in Florida State. They canceled the game. They were going to have no fans, and then, of course, they ended up canceling the season. Florida State wins the ACC.
Right. You come out last year, they have a good season. They go 16-7, but you have a first-round exit to Rutgers. And now you come back this year, and, like you've said, they just keep finding more interesting ways to lose games. Mm-hmm. I think of it a lot of like the situation with Frank Martin at South Carolina. Like it's literally the same thing. Frank Martin made it all the way to the Final Four as a 7 seed, and that got, Carolina fans giddy about basketball. And since then, I mean, other than that Final Four season, what has Frank Martin done? Nothing. Right. And now I love Frank Martin. I've always liked him as a coach. I love how he coaches. I love how hard he is on the players, and I love how much the players, love him back for being that hard on them. And I think he has a great coaching, method as far as that goes. But there's absolutely nothing to show for it. And there just comes a time where, like, I'm sorry, regardless of how you feel and regardless of how much you like this person, like, it's obviously just not working out. It might be time to cut the cord.
Yeah, absolutely. South Carolina's an interesting conversation too. They had that buzzer beater against Ole Miss.
It was crazy.
They're looking, at least they're looking solid. They're 15-10. And 7 in the SEC. They're right in the middle of a tough conference. Now, they just had a tough stretch, but I mean, they got 2 wins over Georgia, who's bad. They beat Ole Miss team who's not horrible. They don't really have a lot of great wins. I mean, Florida State's a good win, I think, but this Florida State team's not as good as some in the past. But I think it's the same situation where, okay, you can beat the Georgias and you can beat the Texas A&Ms who aren't great,
right?
But Tennessee smacked them. Usually they're good for one win over Kentucky a year, no matter what, and they did that this year. And also. Also Clemson beat them by 14. Another thing.
Yeah.
Now, granted, that game, a lot of people were injured in COVID and stuff, but still, you can't lose to your rival.
Right.
Back years.
But you look at Carolina, with South Carolina, the years after the Final Four year, they went 26-11. It's a great year. They had players, Thornwell, Dozier, Silva, all of them boys, they came together. They had a really special season. Knocked off Duke. I mean, that's something that's going to live in the minds of Carolina fans for years. And then they come out the next 2 years and they go 500 both years. And then 1920 with the COVID year, they were 18-13, but obviously everything shut down. And then you go last year they were 6-15. They were horrid. But it's just the same thing. The Final Four is great and all, and it's great memories, obviously, but you have nothing to show for it. You would think if you made it all the way to the Final Four, you would be able to get some players in there and, kind of continue that success, at least for a couple of years. And they haven't had anything to show for it. And I think it's just, it's time. It's time to let them go.
Especially this year, because you're in the middle of the pack of that SEC, but you got a 4-point loss to Princeton and a 4-point loss to Coastal.
Yeah, it's always the same stuff with South Carolina basketball. It's always – like you said, it seems like every year there's at least one point where Frank Martin can get the best of John Calipari and they can beat Kentucky, and that's enough to keep fans in it. But then, they have those games at the beginning of the year, oh God, what year was I'm trying to find it now? Let me find it real quick. There was a year that they lost to Stetson. Yeah.
I remember that.
Here in COVID year, 1920. They started out 3-0. Ended up going into the Stetson game at 8-4 after just beating Clemson, and they got a road win at number 9 Virginia. This is a good Virginia team. This is like all them boys still there in Virginia with Tony Bennett and all them boys.
Yeah.
And they play Stetson at home right after Christmas, and they must have been hungover from the eggnog, and they lost by 7, and then they lost 2 more after that. It's always something with South Carolina basketball. They can never keep it up.
Yeah. And their schedule's not kind to them at the end. They have LSU this weekend, Mississippi State, go to Bama, Missouri, and then go to Auburn. So not a great way to end the year. Again, they're in that upper half of the conference right now, but they're going to need to pull off some upsets to get talked about more for some postseason play. For sure.
Oof. These ticket prices for that Auburn game, it must be a hot commodity. Well, I guess it's senior day for Auburn.
Yeah.
$320. My God.
No, thank you. Looking at ACC, of course, your top 4 standings are the most important because you get 2 days off. Duke's the number 1 seed right now. They have a half game advantage over Notre Dame because they have the win. Notre Dame second, Miami is third, and North Carolina, despite everything, is fourth. I feel like North Carolina is one of the worst good ACC teams in a while because they haven't beaten anybody good, but they win the games they're supposed to. So
yeah, they're definitely weird this year.
They're not a bad team, but I don't think they're a good
no.
team. I think they're going to be like a 10 seed when they make the tournament, or a 9 seed or something.
Yeah, so. And everybody's right there with each other.
Oh,
so.
Yeah. Wake Forest is a game and a half, and Virginia are both a game and a half back of the 4 seed. Virginia Tech's a game and a half back to Virginia, and then Syracuse, Florida State are still in there, and then toward the bottom, Louisville, Pitt, Boston College, Clemson, NC State, and Georgia Tech. So,
and like we said, I don't think North Carolina is a bad team, but against ranked opponents, they're 1-4.
Yeah,
and that's not going to get it done.
Yeah. Their one major win is over Michigan, who has kind of fallen off this year. So
yeah,
Michigan was ranked at the time when they beat them, but yeah, their best win is either Michigan or Furman, who's second in the SoCon. So
yeah,
that's kind of they're playing Pitt right now.
But you know what? It could be worse because you know who you could be. You could be IUPUI.
They were so close to beating UIC, man. They were so close, and
man,
fumbled it away.
It's been a couple weeks since we talked about them. I don't think we talked about them last week, but they are now 2-22 on the season. They still have not won a conference game.
They play
and
Robert Morris tonight when
Yeah.
this comes out. If you want to see them play,
Robert Morris sucks too. They're 7-19. They don't suck as bad as IUPUI. They don't suck so bad where you have to have open tryouts for anybody that goes to your school and has a pulse and is a male. If you want to play basketball at IUPUI, just come. Like, they're taking anybody. I mean,
they really are. Their wins this year are over Spalding and East West. You can't tell me those are two real schools.
No. East West sounds like a Key and Peele video.
All I can think of the Spalding, get your foot off the boat.
We love a Caddyshack reference.
What's funny is they kind of started the year. They only lost by 9 to Butler, whose Butler's not that great this year, but that's kind of a big game. And you're like, okay, not looking horrible. And then you lost by 20 to Evansville. Okay. Lose to Denver, bad. Okay. Texas A&M Corpus Christi, ew. UTSA, good team by 3. Okay. Spalding, hey, there's a win. And then you start conference play, and oh boy. They also lost to Chicago State, who might be the worst team of all time ever in the history of Division I basketball. They're 6-19, and they lost to them. So
this stretch of games for IUPUI where they were at Milwaukee and they lost by 35. They got obliterated by Ohio State 83-37, lost to Wright State 73-45, and then lost to Northern Kentucky by 19 before getting 2 games canceled, I guess, due to COVID, and then beating East West and now losing 5 more. Like, it's not good.
Yeah.
It's really bad.
Yeah, it's tough. They got Robert Morris, Youngstown State, Milwaukee, and Green Bay. They only lost to Youngstown State by 6 the first time. They covered the spread. So that's all you got to do. I think it's bad, too. You look, their leading scorer, B.J. Maxwell, is averaging 12.3 points a game in 32 minutes played. So,
God.
Oh, they're scoring. Oh, God. They are scoring 51.7 points a game.
That's horrid.
That is 501st in the country. I need to see. Oh,
God, 501st. That's a lot of teams.
There are 9 pages of this on the ESPN website. And if you keep, well, for example, I'm on the 3rd page. You're still at 73.6.
Yeah,
that's how.
Oh my God! I just noticed this. Holy crap! I knew Georgetown was bad. I didn't know they were this bad.
Oh yeah, they're horrible.
They are awful. They are Big East bottom dweller. Like they are freaking not even getting out of the basement at all.
Okay, so technically, they're 501st as IUPUI. It's going to say 358, but that's like because there's some ties in there or whatever. They are the worst scoring team in the nation. 51.7. Above them is Eastern Illinois. How many more points is Eastern Illinois averaging in IUPUI, you think?
And IUPUI's got what?
51.7 a game.
I would say Eastern Illinois has an average at least 58.
You're close. 57.3.
God,
there's a 6-point difference on
that's terrible.
But also, another team that's down here, which is surprising, South Florida is averaging 57.6 points a game.
Ew.
Yeah. Another team that's the first Power 5 team down here is Pitt. They're averaging 62 points a game. And then, of course, Virginia's down here, but that's normal for them. They're averaging 63 points a game. They're tied 337.
South Florida's tough, too. They're 7-17. Ugh.
Yeah, no.
But one more thing about Georgetown. They have not won a conference game, and they've lost 14 in a row. Aren't they coached by
Patrick Ewing?
Yeah, Patrick Ewing. What? Ew,
what happened?
That's not going well, is it, Pat?
No, it is not.
Charleston Southern also sucks.
They almost beat Longwood, though, which is very surprising. Who's first in the conference now. And you know who Georgetown has left to end the season? They're playing Marquette right now. Probably going to lose that one. They have at Villanova, DePaul, UConn, at Seton Hall, and at Xavier. Pick a win. Who they beat out of those? I don't see one.
They are not.
Their last win was over Howard. They also beat Syracuse this year, which is okay. How'd that happen, Cuse?
Yeah.
And they also beat Longwood, the Big South champions. They might have a win over them. So.
Yeah. Well, another team, Delaware State. They are also a 2-win team. They're 2-20. Their wins are only over Karn University and Regent University, which I'm guessing D3 or NAIA. And they have to have the longest losing streak in the nation because they've lost 18 in a row. So yeah, not going good for Delaware State in the MEAC.
Yeah, they have the longest one because
Who else was it?
Because East West they had the packed up stats.
Yeah,
San Jose State's lost 13 in a row. Haven't won a conference game in Mountain West. Mountain West is very good. Mountain West might have 4 teams in the tournament this year.
right.
They have Wyoming, who's ranked, but they just lost to New Mexico. Boise State, Colorado State, and San Diego State all look pretty good. San Diego State's 16-6, so that might go against them. But still, Boise's got almost 20 wins, and Colorado State's got 20 wins. So
this one crept up on me. Power 5 basketball team with 3 wins, Oregon State.
Oh.
3-20, 1-12 in the conference. They've lost 10 in a row.
Didn't Oregon State make the tournament a few years ago and go pretty deep, go to the second round, almost win? I feel like that happened just a few years.
Let's see. We're fact checking this. They last year.
Oh my gosh, they did. That's right.
They made it to the Elite 8.
What?
Stop. Why did I not remember this?
I knew they had a 1 year they made a run, but I thought they made a Sweet 16.
Didn't they run the table and they won the Pac-12 last year? Because they were 17-12.
Yes. Okay, yeah. I remember.
Oh
so yeah, I'm looking at it now. Yeah, the regular season, yes. They upset UCLA in the tournament in overtime. And they upset Oregon and they upset Colorado. And that's how they made the NCAA tournament last year.
Oh my gosh, and they rode it to the Elite 8.
Yeah, they were 18-12. They beat Tennessee. They beat Oklahoma State. They beat Loyola Chicago and then lost to Houston by 7.
And now they're 3-20. Oh my gosh.
All those players had to have left. That is, yes, it looked like all
surely.
Yeah,
or either that was all they had to give and they just gave up.
It looks like their top 2 scorers and top 2 rebounders have left. So, no, Silva's still there. That's pretty good. That's sad.
Oh, that's awful.
Yeah, so I think they have one good player. But, yeah, their last win was on December 30th against Utah.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. Yeah. Another Georgia. Georgia sucks.
Yeah,
Georgia's 6-19.
I think.
Yeah, they're trash.
Yeah.
Incarnate Word is a 5-win team. Oh, Mississippi Valley State Delta Devils. They are also a 2-win team. But they're on a 1-game winning streak.
Yes, and I think I'm gonna look and see.
They still haven't won a home game. They're 0-9 at home.
Well, if you're a season ticket holder, you're like,
oh man, that's gotta be terrible. Them tickets are free. You don't pay a thing for those.
Please show up. No, I think it was them and Alabama A&M. Yeah. Or was it Alabama State? Yeah. Oh, Alabama A&M and Missouri Valley State last week played 4 overtime games. And Alabama A&M won 94-92.
Oh, my God.
Mississippi Valley, they won when they beat Alabama State with their last win, 85-71. Mississippi Valley State hit 14 3-pointers.
Oh, my gosh.
Harry Collins went 6 of 9 from deep. Go Delta Devils, man.
Man, God, what a sad life to be a Mississippi Valley State Delta Devil fan.
You're also in the middle of nowhere in Mississippi and it's hot.
Right.
I don't want to live that life.
Oh, they're freaking, the east side of the SWAC is so bad. It's so bad because the Florida A&M's in first place in the east side of the SWAC and they're 10-14.
Yeah, I feel like Southern or Texas Southern win this conference every year, or Prairie View A&M, and Prairie View A&M is having a down year this year, but they're still 6-7 in the conference.
Yeah, well, and Mississippi Valley State's win the other night was against Alcorn State, who was 9-4 in the conference. How bad do you think they feel?
Yeah. Oh man, you know what's bad? I feel bad for North Dakota Fighting Hawks, who are 6-21, behind the St. Thomas, Minnesota Tommies. In their first year jumping from D3 to D1, have a better record than North Dakota.
But look at Omaha. Omaha's only 4-22, but they're not dead last in the conference because they have 3 conference wins. What?
That's funny.
Also, St. Thomas, Minnesota, the Tommies have lost 10 in a row.
Ooh. Oh. I had a winning record before that.
I was about to say at one point they were 8-7.
They're like, that's it, Clinton Park, we're done.
Yep. Done enough.
They realized that, like, oh, we can't make it to the conference, to the NCAA in our first year. Set it down.
Screw it. Oh, Lamar in the WAC.
Yeah.
You know, people still don't think the WAC exists anymore, but it does in basketball. Boy, it's terrible. Well, at least for Lamar. Lamar 2-22. They've lost 17 in a row. Okay, so they are very close to having the longest losing streak.
Their last win. Was a 3-point victory over Our Lady of the Lake.
God bless.
67.
We talked about that.
Yeah. They're that team from Texas. That's like
D2
or D3 or something. Yeah.
Oh gosh, man.
Yeah. I feel like they have a good men's team though, so it's like, oh man. But yeah, that was back in December, I think.
This is so Lamar's. They've played 16 away games and they've lost all 16 of them. They've only had 10 home games. They're 2-8, obviously.
They won their first game of the season against Wiley. I don't know what the mascot is, but it's a purple bobcat, is what it looks like.
They got screwed with the schedule. Big teams must just be scheduling them to get the free win because they got 16 away games. And look at California Baptist has 8 away games. Now they're 1-7 on the road, but they're 13-4 at home.
Yeah. Now Lamar does have 2 forfeits on this schedule. They did have to forfeit against Mexico State and Grand Canyon. Now those are 2 of the best teams in the WAC, so I guess it wouldn't matter anyway. But still, a little grain of salt there. They had to forfeit 2 games. But yeah, no, that's. Oh boy, there's some. Maine is 5-19 in the American East. Go Black Bears. Oh God, Duquesne is 6-17, 1-10 in the A10.
Duquesne.
Since there's anybody else that's not nobody else is like that. Well, Nebraska's 1-13 in conference. If you want to talk about another Nebraska team letting you down.
What a sad life to be a Nebraska fan.
At least your women's team is good. At least you got a good women's team. So wait. Oh, okay. UC San Diego must be ineligible for conference play because they're 11-13, but it says they're 0-0 in conference.
Interesting.
So they must be in. Oh yeah, I think they moved up a few years ago, so they're ineligible. That sucks. Oh yeah, I think there was one year they won the Big West regular season title like their second year, and they're like, nope, you can't go to the NIT. That sucks. Yeah. So yeah, we're gonna talk about that. So let's move a little bit real quick. Some college football talk. Conference USA. I don't know if you saw this. Is basically gonna die next year because if you don't know, there's a bunch of teams leaving for the American with all the realignment. Well, now it seems like Marshall, ODU, and I think Southern Miss are going to the Sun Belt. Which means, and of course, they're going to try to get Jacksonville State, Sam Houston State, Central Arkansas, I think, and Liberty. So this conference is going to be garbage for a while and a bunch of stuff. Except Liberty basketball is good. But the Conference USA released their conference football schedules. Now, Marshall, ODU, and Southern Miss have told them, hey, we're leaving. We're not going to be here next year. Well, Conference USA put out their football schedules, and they still have Marshall, ODU, and Southern Miss on there. So I don't know if that's happening or not. And then they put this tweet out when people asked to explain it, like, oh, we fully expect them to qualify with the legal obligations, and then didn't put on the replies to it. So that's one thing. But also another college football thing. Have you kept up anything with Brian Harsin at Auburn? Have you seen any of that?
Okay, I've been hearing the that there's turmoil going on, but I'll be honest with you, I haven't seen exactly what it is other than I saw a picture of some female that got hired there, and apparently there was controversy with that. But other than that, I don't know exactly what it is.
So what basically happened, rumors came, well, first the rumors came out that Brian Harsin, and then I think these kind of were with him at Boise State, that Brian Harsin was kind of like one of those coaches that was kind of went maybe a little too far with like verbal abuse and all this stuff. And, it's kind of, you kind of have to be careful of that and stuff. You don't know, like, well, maybe he's just coaching his kids hard, but whatever.
Yeah.
But there was some of that, and of course there were some former players that transferred out. I mean, Bo Nix transferred out. His dad played there, and he's named after Bo Jackson. That was kind of alarming to see him leave.
Yeah.
And he hasn't said anything, but I think there's a bunch of other players who have transferred out that have kind of said, hey, this guy's a jerk. This guy kind of yells at us. This guy's not a good guy.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, the thing came out with, those in the thing that he hired this woman and he was having an affair with her.
That's right.
And I think this woman was a former either girlfriend or fiance or maybe even wife of a former assistant coach or something. And that's one thing. And then, of course, you had some coaches leave too, which was like, okay. But I also think Auburn, the only reason they looked into this is because Auburn sucked at the end of the year last year. They lost 5 in a row to end the season.
Yeah.
Now, Grant, again, they had that close game in South Carolina, almost beat Bama, and then, of course, that close Birmingham bowl game with nobody playing for them.
Yeah.
But still, I think it was one of those Auburn only looked into it because their team was garbage. Like, I feel like if their team had gone like 9-3 or something, this wouldn't be much of a story. This would be like, oh, Brian Harsin kind of stinks as a person, but it's like, oh, well, we beat Alabama, so we're going to keep them.
Yeah. It's SEC football. Hey.
Yeah.
Wayside. Put on the wayside.
Yeah. But the funny part about it, I think, was the man was in Mexico the entire time this thing's happening on vacation. And I was kind of like, is he not coming back? Because he was gone for like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And then not said anything. Eventually showed up because they had an SEC coaches meeting. And somebody said the funniest thing would have been if he walked in and Brian Kelly stands up and goes, well, I do the Kalea. Look who has their time. And that would have been confusing to everyone in that room.
Yeah.
But Auburn voted to keep him on, so he's still going to be there, for better or worse. Now,
guess we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, looking at the schedule, they start off with Mercer and San Jose State. Those should be 2 wins. Penn State at home. That'll be a rematch of that game last year. Again, you don't have Bo Nix, who, again, weirdest quarterback of all time, but you don't have him.
Yeah.
Missouri, who stinks. LSU, who, up and down. They're going to be a weird team next year, too, with Brian Kelly. Then you got to go to Georgia. Have fun.
Oof.
Go to Ole Miss. Have fun. No Jackson. No Matt Corral, though. So I guess you got that going for you. Arkansas at home. Have fun with that. Go to Mississippi State. Okay. Texas A&M at home. I mean, Jimbo's going 9-3 with the number 1 recruiting class in the country again. So,
Yep.
Probably that 3rd loss. Western Kentucky and then at Alabama. So we'll see. I don't know if he's going to last 2 years. If he loses that Mercer or San Jose State game, which again they always lost to Georgia State last year, so Auburn has tendency, and they always lost to ULM years ago. Now again, that wasn't Brian Harsin, but still,
right.
Auburn has been known to play down to their competition.
Yeah. Also, I don't know if we mentioned it, but Brian Kelly doing the dances with that recruit, and then he committed to Alabama is hilarious. I absolutely love that.
Absolutely, it goes viral for all the wrong reasons, and then it's like, nope.
So cringe. It's awful.
I was going to look at LSU schedule. Their first game they play on a Sunday against Florida State in the New Orleans Superdome. Those are 2 teams headed in just the worst directions right now, playing each other.
Yeah. They're not what they once were. Let's just say that.
Yeah, like 5 years ago, sure, that's a great game. Now it's like, no. They play Southern at home. They'll beat them. Mississippi State at home. You never know. New Mexico at home. Go to Auburn. Host Tennessee. That's going to be tough. Go to Florida. That's tough. Host Ole Miss. Host Alabama. God, they got to host on the schedule.
Yeah.
Go to Arkansas. Host UAB, and then go to Texas A&M. So
they end at A&M?
Yeah.
That's odd. Don't they always usually end with Arkansas?
Yeah, you're right. They usually do. Oh, wait, no. Arkansas ends in Missouri now. Because they play on Black Friday, I think. I think Arkansas LSU was the original Black Friday SEC game, and they're like, we're going to make Missouri and Arkansas a rivalry. It's like, okay.
Dumb.
Like why is Texas A&M and South Carolina a rivalry?
It's stupid. I couldn't tell you.
Yeah. I don't think, by the way, this is a side thing. We've gotten way off track. We even talked about the Clemson football schedule getting released on here.
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so. We talked a little bit about South Carolina, as I know, because it was already released, but we'll go for Clemson's. They open up on Labor Day against Georgia Tech, which in the Mercedes-Benz Dome, Don't know why that game's being played there, but sure. That's fine. 5 days later, they play Furman. I mean, you should be able to beat Furman on 5 days rest because Furman. But Louisiana Tech the next week. There's no Skip Holtz there, so it should be anything. This one's going to be interesting. They go to Wake Forest. Now, last year they shut down Wake Forest completely. Wake Forest going to be a completely new-looking team next year.
Yeah.
So interesting to see. The revenge game the next week against NC State, Hall of Fame Day. You know, you want to get revenge on NC State. You lost them in overtime. You go to Boston College. That's always a tough place to play. Clemson, I feel like. You go to Florida State. That's back-to-back 2 pretty tough places to travel to. Syracuse at home for homecoming. Then, of course, you go to Notre Dame again. And it'll be interesting to see who's the quarterback by that point because last time they went up there, DJU had a heck of a game against Notre Dame. But but Cade Klubnik could take that starting job. You host – this is the one I'm excited for because they host Louisville that day. And it's Military Appreciation Day, so it's going to be all purple. But if the Atlantic Division's on the line that day, do you wear the orange breeches with the purple?
Have to. You have to.
It's championship pants. You gotta wear those.
You can't break your traditions.
Exactly. That's going to be interesting. If the Atlantic for some reason is up for grabs that week, you gotta wear it. It could be up the next week because this could be a fun one. Clemson and Miami next week. If Miami's worth anything next year, of course they started looking good. That other quarterback they had. So we'll see what happens. And then, of course, the South Carolina game is back in Clemson. So you end the year with 4 of your last 5 at home, which is nice.
Yeah.
After having to go on the road in the middle of October for a while.
Yeah. I would like to think that game on November 26th against South Carolina would be one of the more competitive ones we've seen based on the way that, South Carolina's trending, but obviously who knows? Yeah. I thought this year's would be a lot more competitive than it was, and it wasn't at all.
Exactly. Yeah. And I was with Clemson banged up, sending God knows who out there at the time and getting the shutout. But no, I think it's gonna be a fun season. We'll go for South Carolina real quick. I know we've talked about it briefly, but we'll kind of roll for it. Georgia State, that's a big game because former interim coach. Yeah, he's kind of made Georgia State a pretty good team out of Sun Belt. They made 2 bowl games in a row. So for them, this opening stretch is tough because you got to go to Arkansas, and Sam Pittman's got them turned around real quick, and then you got to host the defending national champions in Georgia. Yay, that's early. But again, like Steve Spurrier says, you want to get them early, so you.
This is true. This is true. That's true. Very true.
If nothing else. But then you come back, you host Charlotte. Should be a win. You host South Carolina State. Band will be great. At least you got that. So. Right. Go to Kentucky. That's always a tough place to play. 4 in the side for South Carolina for years has been Kentucky. Yeah. Host Texas A&M after 2 weeks off. I want y'all to beat them so y'all can get the stupid Cowboy trophy.
Please. I just want to hold it one time.
If nothing else, Will Muschamp didn't even know that was a thing. That's how bad this rivalry's been for South Carolina. You host Missouri next week. That's homecoming. Go to Vandy. And this is a tough stretch at the end of the year. Yeah. At Florida. Again, Florida, not a great team, but still, that's a tough place to play. And then you host Tennessee. That's a lot better team than people thought would be. They're doing well. And then at Clemson. So the last 3 games are not fun. So this is one of those like this year. Lock in that 6th win. Yeah. And try to steal one from somebody. Right. So Florida, I think you can beat though for sure.
Realistically, you're looking, come out, you beat Georgia State, but then you're staring at 0-2 in the SEC. You're staring at it right in the face if you can't go to Arkansas and pull off a win or somehow dock off the defending national champions. You're staring at 0-2 in the SEC in the face, which would all but obliterate, your hopes of an SEC East title, if that's obviously even in question. And then you come next SEC game is at Kentucky. So definitely tough to start in the SEC, but you come back for A&M after a bye week. Obviously, the quote-unquote rivalry has been very lopsided. Then you got Missouri, Vanderbilt, and then that final 3 stretch. So, schedule not doing South Carolina much favors. But let's just say Georgia State, Charlotte, South Carolina State. I would like to say Missouri. That would be 4 wins. Vanderbilt, 5 wins. You just got to find one more in there somewhere.
I think right now Florida. because, I mean, you saw last year what happened. And, again, that
Yeah.
wasn't Columbia, but, again, that was with a backup quarterback. Now,
Yeah.
you think Spencer Rattler is going to be more stable than your quarterback system last year. And so,
yeah. I mean, and we'll get a really good look at what direction South Carolina's going in when they go to Arkansas the second week of the season, because that's going to be obviously tough. Arkansas coming off a year where they looked a lot better than people expected, so South Carolina having to go there that early. If Carolina can rattle off a win, that would set the expectation for the season that, hey, South Carolina's here, we might be able to do something. We might be able to improve from last year and not go 6-6. Maybe we can get it to 7-5, or who knows. But
yeah. Arkansas also, I just think it's funny. They played Missouri State, who's coached by Bobby Petrino.
Yeah,
making that family weekend, and I think that's the funniest thing in my life. They're hosting it. I think that's like the third weekend of the season, so that's just phenomenal stuff by Arkansas. And kind of go out here. Of course, this weekend also college baseball season for D1 starts this week too. That's it's really exciting, I think, for some teams. Of course, kind of see if South Carolina can get back to their glory days. Same with Clemson.
Yeah,
sure. Clemson opens up with Indiana this weekend. South Carolina is at UNC Greensboro. Is that on their website? UNC Greensboro, yeah. 3-game series for both of them. So, yeah, going to be interesting. This might be the only baseball we have for a while if the MLB doesn't get their.
Yeah, my gosh, that's crazy.
Pitchers and catchers are supposed to report yesterday, which is disappointing. I'm also mad because your boy graduates and wants to treat himself, and they play the Padres and the Red Sox the week after I graduate, and I'm not one to spend money on two high-profile series if that's not happening. So,
right.
Because I don't want to get that and they have to change the schedule up for some reason. So, but we'll see what happens there. And I'm also sad again because Winthrop just beat Gardner-Webb in basketball, so that's fine.
Darn it.
Yeah, 81-70. So I think that means Winthrop clinches the South Division championship because they have two divisions down in the Big South. I'm pretty sure that's what that means, but I could be wrong. But I can't remember how that goes. But yeah, that's always a fun rivalry to watch too. But wrap this up. Just some basketball games. I'll give you some of mine to look out for this weekend. I can get my computer to load and go to the right goal. Yeah. So some basketball games to watch out for this weekend or this week coming up that I think should be a lot of fun. Of course, again, like we said, we're getting down toward the end, which is wild to think about already. That's so close. Texas Tech goes to Texas on Saturday. That could be a lot of fun. And that one, Alabama goes to Kentucky. We got to see if Alabama's going to play up to their competition or not this time. Tennessee will go to Arkansas on Saturday, too. Those are the top two teams in the SEC, I believe. So that could be a fun one. Another one, St. Louis and Davidson. Davidson's top of the A-10. St. Louis is hovering around, I think, top 3. So that could be a sneaky fun one. Just got to mention, Gardner-Webb is at Presbyterian. I know that's the rivalry everybody loves in basketball. Down in Clinton this weekend.
So, Clinton.
Go stop at Dempsey's Pizza. I haven't been to Dempsey's in years. Well,
I haven't been in a long time either. I couldn't tell you the last time I've been there.
Yeah, I thought about that the other day. I'm like, I need to sneak my way down there somehow.
Place is good.
I know. Florida State goes to Duke. That could be a fun one. I still think Florida State's a dangerous team. That's Saturday at 6:00. Tickets are as low as $693.
Oh God! Florida State already beat Duke once this year, so
yeah, that's true. That is true. And then your kind of late night games. Arizona hosts Oregon. That could be a fun one. And UCLA will host Washington, and Gonzaga, who's number 1 seed again, our number 1 team again, will host Santa Clara, who I feel like has snuck up on them in the past few years before. Let's see what happens there for sure. And then during the week, next week, not a whole lot. Arizona State and UCLA play again, which Arizona State beat them the first time on Monday.
Yeah.
So that'll be fun. And your Super Tuesday, you got some pretty good ones. You got Arkansas goes to Florida, which could be a trap game for them. And, of course, Villanova's at UConn. That's a big-time game in the XL Center. And a rivalry matchup between Kansas and Kansas State and Allen Fieldhouse. And that's pretty much it. Texas Tech hosts Oklahoma, which could be
Super Tuesday's not as super this coming week, but Wednesday has got a couple. Duke is at Virginia. Obviously, Duke will be looking to get revenge on Virginia, beating them at home a week or so ago. And LSU is at Kentucky. LSU 19-7, a win they desperately need. And then in the Mountain West, Wyoming is 21-4, number 22 in the country. They're getting to Moby Arena in Fort Collins, Colorado, to take on the 20-3 Colorado State Rams at 9 p.m. Eastern time on Wednesday. So check out that one.
That'll be fun for sure. Looking at the women's games, Louisville goes to North Carolina tonight. This on Thursday when it comes out. That could be a tough one. North Carolina's been kind of up and down this year, but they're ranked 24th right now. South Carolina's going to host Auburn. That could be the trap game for them because South Carolina and Tennessee is going to be on College Game Day this Sunday, which is
that's big time
for both of those programs. Tennessee goes to Alabama before that, so you wonder if both those teams are kind of looking ahead for that one. I'm just going to give a shout out here. Mercer goes to Wofford. Wofford, I think, is second in the conference. Mercer, I think, is first in the SoCon. And Wofford, shout out to the SID, Wyatt Street, former intern with me at the Florence Red Wolves. So I got to give a shout out to him. He's done a great job with them. Ohio State goes to Maryland that night, and Notre Dame goes to Georgia Tech. The turnaround at Georgia Tech has been insane. They have done so well in the past few years after being kind of down the dumps for a while. But yeah, of course, the big game Sunday, Tennessee at South Carolina, 1 o'clock on ABC, so you get the national slot too.
Yeah, that's really cool to have it on ABC.
Yeah, College Game Day is going to be there, and they always pack the CLA at Columbia for women's games anyway. That place is going to be insane.
Yes, it is.
That's a big-time game. Also that day, you have Maryland and Michigan playing that afternoon, and then you also have Georgia Tech and Miami, which could be a sneaky good game, and LSU at Florida. So fun ones. Also, regional rankings came out, of course, for the Division II. Of course, and we work in both those. Lander right now holding the 2 spot behind North Georgia, and
God, I hate them.
and Carson Newman at the 5 spot. Carson Newman and Lander both won tonight. We're recording, so looking to build on their resumes toward the end. The men's one came out too today. I just got an email about that. And
it's got to be Lincoln Memorial, right?
No, I think it's UNC Pembroke.
Oh, hey, Drew Richards. Love that guy.
Yeah, Queens is 3rd. Let me see. Okay, here we go. It is Flagler, actually.
Oh, okay. Flagler's good.
Yeah. Flagler's first 17-4. Augusta second at 19-3. Queens at 3rd. And Lincoln Memorial's 4th. They're both 21-3. UNC Pembroke's 5th. But God, UNC Pembroke and Lincoln Memorial first round matchup. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that's stacked.
Yeah, Georgia College.
Stacked.
Yeah, Georgia College 6th. Wingate 7th. Now Wingate has 2 wins over Carson Newman, so that kind of the difference there too. And USC Aiken 8th.
Yeah. And
then Tusculum is 9th. State 10th.
Yeah, that is a stacked top. What was that? Top 5.
Yeah, top 5. Top 5. Yeah, top 5. 3 of them seeds 3, 4, and 5 all have 21 wins.
Yeah. Well, I feel like, too, just the Conference Carolinas doesn't get any respect, and I'm not saying that they necessarily deserve respect because they really don't. But
yeah, so they're going to steal a spot from one of these teams too. So
yeah, but Pembroke is 20. Only has 2 losses on the year.
Mm-hmm.
And they lost recently to Southern Wesleyan, which is a very bad loss. They lost by 10. But Pembroke is coached by a former Lander coach, Drew Richards, who in his 1 year at Lander took them to the top of the mountain and freaking won the PBC and made a freaking tournament appearance, and then dipped back to UNC Pembroke because that's where he had worked for years, and he got the head jobs. I mean, I don't necessarily blame him.
Yeah.
But there a lot of respect for him. Love him. He's a great guy. But happy to see Pembroke still playing well. Yeah,
Flagler is. I don't think who they lost. Was 17?
Flagler's good, dude.
Oh, they're 19-4. This hasn't been updated. They're 19-4. They lost to Anderson. That's a bad loss, but they lost to Rollins. I don't know how good they are, but yeah, since then they have just. Yeah, they lost to Aiken. That's keeping Aiken alive.
Mm-hmm.
And they lost to Aiken twice. That's keeping Aiken alive. They lost to Aiken twice.
Yeah.
yeah, this is a good team. They have rolled over almost everybody in the Peach Belt, and other than that Anderson loss, that's the only bad loss they have. So
Yeah, they'll be playing. They're at Augusta on Saturday in Christenberry Fieldhouse in Augusta. That's going to be a heck of a game.
yeah. I think Queens and LMU play each other again sometime soon. Too. They play each other once, and I know for sure LMU ends the year with Carson Newman, so that'll be fun to see. Yeah, Wingett's one of those, just a scrappy team, man. They play really good defense. They'll be a challenge for anybody too, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the women's one, I have it here, I think. Yeah. Yeah, women's. Scroll down. Okay, women's. I saw Benedict back in the South. I forgot Benedict goes back to that because
Yeah.
Southeast, North Georgia at first, Landers second, Georgia Southwestern third. That's a really good top three. Wingate fourth, but Wingate just lost tonight to Anderson, so that'll be interesting to see. Carson Newman fifth, Barton sixth. Barton's 21-1 in their sixth.
Conference Carolinas, no respect.
Yep. Catawba seventh, Belmont Abbey eighth. They were the region champs last year, but they lost a ton of people, but they still got some good wins. Mount Olive is ninth, and they're 14-2, and then Columbus State is 10th. So that's what you got so far in that one, in the women's side. So yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. Postseason coming strong, man, and it's crazy to think that it's already like that's wild. So we'll go on. We'll move to best
NBA.
Play.
Oh wait,
We'll go NBA. We'll go NBA. Yeah.
I'll run down NBA really quick. I know we've gone on a bit longer on the tangents, but
yeah.
NBA Eastern Conference, still a ton of parity here, but separating the 1 seed from the 8 seed to 6.5 games. So it's anybody's Eastern Conference, honestly, unless you're the Detroit Pistons or the Orlando Magic.
Yeah.
But Miami's still holding on to the top spot. Well, they are tied with the Bulls. They're both 37-21 on the year. So they're at the top two spots. Milwaukee all right on their heels at 36-23. Cleveland's still holding strong. They are 6-4 in their last 10, but they're 35-23. Philadelphia, obviously a lot of big stuff coming out this week. Philadelphia getting rid of Ben Simmons, sending him on down to Brooklyn, and in return, Philadelphia gets James Harden.
Yeah.
What Philadelphia gave up, Simmons and a couple other players and a couple like first round picks, right? To bring James Harden in, like they gave up a ton. And I know the whole Ben Simmons thing is controversial, like because Sixers fans are done with him. They don't respect him anymore. But Ben Simmons is still Ben Simmons. I still feel like he can play at a high level. Is it going to translate to Brooklyn? I don't know. We'll just have to see. But Philadelphia 34-23. James Harden and Joel Embiid together could be very interesting and dangerous. I do like the idea of that. But Boston at 6, 34-25.
They looked really good. They won 9.
Yeah, they won 9 in a row. So
looked really good to close out the season.
Toronto 31-25 at the 7th spot. Brooklyn at the 8th spot, 30-27, and 9-10 respectively. Charlotte and Atlanta on the outside looking in. The Wizards are right there, a half game out of that 10 spot. And the Knicks are 2.5 games out of that 10 spot. And then you got the Pacers, the Magic, and the Pistons to round out the East, the 3 teams that do not have 20 wins on the season. And then you go to the Western Conference that is so stacked. The Phoenix Suns, 47-10. They're still playing great ball. They've widened their lead. They're 5.5 games up on the Warriors, who are in second. Warriors are 42-16. And Memphis right on their heels, a game and a half back.
Yep.
Game and a half back. Memphis does not have double-digit losses at home or away. They're 20-9 at home. They're 21-9 on the road. This Memphis team continues to impress me. They've won 6 in a row now. They're 8-2 in their last 10. They've been playing some great basketball. Now, they are losing right now to the Portland Trailblazers, but we'll see if they can come back in the second half. But
I think I got some John Morant too for the All-Star game too. So.
Yeah, I gotta give credit to Tyus Jones. Obviously, we know him from his time at Duke. He was part of that great freshman class with Jahlil Okafor and Justice Winslow that won a national title at Duke in 2015 over Wisconsin. And Tyus Jones has bounced around in the league. Never been a starter, but comes in. John Morant didn't play the other night. Tyus Jones comes in, drops 27 and 9 assists. The boy still got it. Tyus Jones lives to this day. And then in the 4 spot, the Jazz 36 and 21. Dallas is 34 and 24 at the 5 spot. Denver 32 and 25 at the 6 spot. And then your play-in game teams. Timberwolves 31 and 27. They're 7 and 3 in their last 10. Clippers on a bit of a slip. They've lost one in a row only, but they're 4 and 6 in their last 10 at the 8 spot. And the Lakers lost 3 in a row. They're 3 and 7 in the last 10. I love to see them doing bad. That's great.
They got the Jazz tonight, who have won, I believe, 5 of the last 7 or something or 6 in a row. Excuse me.
Yeah.
So,
and then the Trailblazers are at that 10 spot. Pelicans still in it for a playoff spot. They're only a game out of the 10 spot, or at least for a play-in spot. Spurs, go ahead.
I'm about laughing at this, but Zion Williamson's out with a foot injury, and somebody said, my man's got gout from eating all that gumbo down there.
Oh, my God.
I feel bad for laughing at that, but it's kind of funny.
Yeah, but, Pelicans ended up bringing in C.J. McCollum, breaking up that fab duo up in or that dynamic duo, I guess I should say, up in Portland. And McCollum is now a Pelican. He's played well since he's been down there, but without Zion, I just don't. They're never going to get. They're not going to get over the hump.
Did you see his note in the Players Tribune how it ended?
No.
So I'm thinking. Remember a few years ago on Twitter, this woman named Jennifer said something about CJ McCollum and or tweeted at him and said, why can't y'all win a playoff series? And he responded and he said, we're trying, Jennifer. We're trying. And they ended up winning a playoff series that year, got the second round. But he ended it with thanking all the people up there. And at the end he said, damn it, Jennifer, we tried our hardest. I was like, I love this man.
I love that. Absolutely really love
that. That's just wild to see that, him and just Lillard for just how tough the West was. They couldn't really get to a finals, really.
I know. They were so great together for years, but Spurs 22 and 36. The Kings suck, but they're still only 2.5 games out of the play-in game. And then the Thunder and the Rockets are just awful. And, yeah, that's pretty much that. So that's your NBA rundown. All-Star Weekend's also this weekend. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's my favorite All-Star Weekend across all the sports. Dunk contest, 3-point contest, always lit. Celebrity games usually pretty good. And the All-Star game is definitely watchable.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. It's not like football. In football, for the Pro Bowl, if you take out all the hitting and the intensity, it's unwatchable. I think anybody can agree on that. But when you take out necessarily the intensity on a basketball game and you're just letting them, run around and throw up half-court shots and do alley-oops all the time, that's fun. Everybody likes to see that.
It's a show, at least,
Right. So, it should be a fun weekend.
I got the full schedule of the weekend. It starts with the All-Star Celebrity Game Friday at 7. One of these teams is coached by Bill Walton, so I hope that team loses by.
I hope they get killed.
And they also have Machine Gun Kelly on their team. So I'm like, you're not helping me at all.
Oh, God.
They do have Anderson Varejao on their team. And I'm like, is that technically a celebrity? It is in Cleveland, though. So I guess
he's going to be leaps and bounds better than anybody else on the court.
Quavo's on that team, though. Quavo can actually shoot, which is pretty cool.
That's true.
The mayor of Cleveland is going to be on the other team with Dominic Wilkins.
Is he in high favor in Cleveland? Are they going to boo him?
I guess. But also Jack Harlow's on that team. Apparently Jack Harlow was a good basketball player, too. But also Myles Garrett. And I was like, can Myles Garrett just run over Bill Walton for me one time? On the ball that's flying out back.
I'm sure Myles Garrett has a mean post move.
He probably does. Then you have the Rising Stars Challenge after that. There's 4 different teams, and this is a tournament. That's how they're going to do it.
Interesting.
Yeah. And they have different picks for it. Desmond Bain is on one team. He's on with, I think Isaiah Thomas is coaching his team. That's how it works. LaMelo Ball's on a team, I think, with Gary Payton coaching his team. He's also there. And then Cole Anthony is on a team. I think James Worthy's coaching that. Yeah, it's about coaches. And I don't know who's coaching. I think Rick Barry's coaching the other team. But he's got Evan Mobley and Isaac Okoro from Cleveland on his team. And Kay Cunningham on there. But that's always fun to watch, too, to see those young guys.
Oh, yeah.
Get out there and see. Saturday, this is kind of cool. They're doing the NBA HBCU Classic. They're having Morgan State and Howard are going to play a game in Cleveland.
Nice.
That's going to get on TV. That's at 2 o'clock. And then, of course, Saturday night, the Skills Challenge. It starts at 8. The Skills Challenge, you have the Cavs team of Jarrett Allen, Darius Garland, Evan Mobley. Then you have all 3 Antetokounmpos.
Nice.
The team, Alex, Giannis, and Giannis, or Giannis, or whatever. And you have a rookie team of Scotty Barnes, Cade Cunningham, and Josh Giddey going at it.
Nice.
So those are your 3 teams for that. Your 3-point contest. This is always, I feel like, the most underrated one.
Yes.
It's really fun, and this could be a good one. You have Desmond Bain, so go Grizz. Luke Kennard, Zach Levine, CJ McCollum, Patty Mills, Karl Anthony Towns, Fred VanVleet, and Trae Young all participating.
Karl Anthony Towns, I feel, is so out of place. I know
he
he's a good
really
shooter,
is.
but I feel like it's so out of place.
Yeah. The slam dunk contest. This one's kind of interesting because it's a lot of young guys again, but all these guys can slam it. It's Cole Anthony, Juan Toscano Anderson from the Warriors, who out of nowhere, I feel like once a month, out of nowhere has an insane dunk in game.
Yeah.
Jalen Green from the Houston Rockets, and then Obi Toppin from the Knicks, who again also has an insane dunk out of nowhere, I feel like.
Yeah.
About once a month. Then you have Sunday, they're going to have a Legends Award ceremony. They have a G League game, which is kind of cool, I guess. And then you have the All-Star game that night, which is Team LeBron versus Team Durant. And, of course, John Morant and LaMelo Ball are also going to be in the All-Star game, which is kind of cool to see that. So,
do you know what the format is? Are they still doing it like it's going to be – how did they do it a couple years ago where it was like the first team to score so many points, right?
Yeah. I think that the fourth quarter, you had to score a certain amount of points, and that's how you won it. Because it's 24 because there's a Kobe rule. I think that's what they're going to do.
I would hope so. I don't know if that's confirmed or not, but I would hope so because I was looking through my Facebook memories the other day, and like 2 years ago, I think was when they first did that. And I remember watching that All-Star game, and it was stupid competitive. And it was so nice to have, get all the best basketball players in the league right now and have them play a competitive basketball game, which is so much fun to watch.
Okay, it looks like they're both playing for charities. Holy cow. They're giving a ton of money to these charities. They're donating $1,900 for every assist.
Oh, my gosh.
In the game, yeah. But they're 2 Cleveland-based charities. One's LeBron's school.
Yeah.
And I think it's Kent State. I think they have a tie-in with Kent State. And team Kevin Durant's playing for the Greater Cleveland Food Bank, which is really good. It doesn't say how the scoring. This is all about charity stuff. I want to see if it's like point stuff, because the winner gets the most money.
Yeah.
That's how it was. Let's see.
I mean, I guess that would be enough incentive to play. But.
Yeah. Oh, okay. It is the 24. Okay. So they're doing the final target score will be the first team to reach the final target score, which will be the team's leading score after the first 3 quarters plus 24 points. So if the leading team has 100 points after 3 quarters, the final score will be 124.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
So whoever's leading plus 24. So if you're up 196, you got to get 124. So.
Right. Cool.
So yeah, they're doing that, and
big fan.
Yeah, they're going to donate $750,000 extra to the winning team's charity. So
nice.
So yeah, that looks like a lot of fun. It's going to be a fun weekend. I got a busy weekend, so hopefully I can see some of the stuff on Saturday night.
Yeah.
Who knows what's going to happen with that, but hopefully I can see on Sunday Okay, sorry, I was scrolling for Twitter, and AEW Dynamite's on, and Matt Jackson's wearing the worst onesie. It's a lion's face, just right there. Yeah, I scrolled for Twitter at the worst time. Anyway, yeah, we'll finish this up with top plays of the week that we saw. I will go with one I filmed in Greenville, Tennessee. Jalen Gillespie, he's a commit to Belmont from Greenville High School in Greenville, Tennessee. Fast break. He has dunked a ton this year, and he gets a fast break dunk, slams it down. They win the region title over Morristown East, who was the second place team in the region this weekend in a heck of a ball game. And the state playoffs start this week in Tennessee. So it's interesting to see what happens with the Green Devils and the rest of the teams up here as they get set for the state playoffs. But yeah, Jalen Gillespie, guy you need to look up for sure. Going to Belmont next year should be a lot of fun to watch.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to go. I got 2 honorable mentions. Honorable mention I want to mention is just Mark Williams from Duke. His putback win against Wake Forest. Great awareness play, and it shows how big and assertive Mark Williams can be, getting the rebound off of Banchero's miss and putting it back in. And then almost the greatest play I've ever seen in my life, the full court heave that almost was for Wake Forest against Duke. That was awesome as well. I'm very glad it rimmed out, but had that gone in, it would have been just amazing. But my number one play is South Carolina versus Ole Miss. They're playing a tight matchup. They are all tied up at the end of regulation, tied up at 68. And they go into the overtime period, and there's a couple seconds left, 2 or 3 seconds left, tied up at 74. South Carolina inbounds it. James Reese grabs it, throws it up a little early for my taste. He still had some time on the clock, but throws it up from half court, banks in the half court buzzer beater for South Carolina as they take down Ole Miss in a conference game. South Carolina moves up to 15-10 and 6-7 in the SEC, but a heck of a shot from James Reese for South Carolina to get the win.
Yeah, that was wild. I saw that one. I was like, oh my goodness. That one happened like right after the Duke game ended.
Yeah.
And then the Clemson game ended. So I was like, there's a lot going on right now.
I told you Super Tuesday was going to be super.
It was. It was a lot of fun for sure. Yeah, that's going to do it for us. I'm just going to plug some stuff. I'll be calling some softball this weekend at 12:30 on Friday in Florida Eagle Invitational, and I'll be calling some basketball on Saturday at 2:00. Limestone and Carson Newman basketball games. I'll be calling that. So it's going to be a busy weekend at Carson Newman. Everybody's at home.
Oh yeah.
It's crossover season, baby. This is the best part of the year.
Yeah.
We're also in the midst of a 13-game homestand for baseball. So
yes, sir.
There's a lot going on. So yeah. Support your SIDs, love them, feed them, hug them if you know any of them.
Give them a hug. Spring season's always tough.
Yeah, for sure. And support all those broadcast and athletes for sure. So yeah.
I'm gonna do this again like we did last week. I got 2 quick things. I don't think it's gonna top what I put last week with Bangkok's picture, but 2 quick things. One, I have to fit in Titans talk at some point. I saw an article yesterday that the title of the article was, "Could Carson Wentz wind up on the Tennessee Titans?" You can't be serious. You cannot be serious. Ridiculous. That's shut up. All right. And last thing, shout out to 96 High School here in South Carolina. 96 High School Wrestling took home the 2A state title as they took down Timberland this past Saturday, bringing state title trophy and getting some ring season down here at old 96 South Carolina. So shout out to the Wildcats for punctuating their season with a state title in wrestling.
Nice. Congrats to them for sure. So yeah, hopefully y'all have a great weekend, and hopefully wherever you're watching sports, if you're watching the All-Star game, you're watching basketball, if you're watching baseball, softball, anything going on, we hope you enjoy your time, and we will be right back here next week to talk about it. So see ya. You've been listening to Breakfast Time with Waffle and Richard. Logos designed by Jen Perry. You can follow Richard on Twitter at Ricardo_knows or on Instagram at RNM1996. Catch up with Waffle at WaffDog on Twitter. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on this Bearded Broadcaster production.